Welcome to US Tzu Chi 360. I'm Ginger Chang. Today we continue with our feature on ways we can reduce our impact on the planet, such as biking. We have Brent Tongco, the Communications Director of Bike New York, on the show again. It's good to see you again, Brent.
It's great to be here.
So first off, I understand that you used to live in Denver,
Yes.
and then you moved to the Big Apple.
Mm-hmm.
So New York City also has the largest fleet of subways and just transportation overall. Now, can you tell us what are some interesting facts, like bike commuting compared to walking and other forms of transportation?
Yeah. Well, personally, I live in Brooklyn, and I work in the Upper West Side off of 120th Street. And it's actually quicker for me to bike door to door than it is to actually take the subway. And then I bike up the Greenway, so it's relatively traffic free. And I sometimes stop to take a look at the battleship and things like that.
Well, in our first segment, we actually have our own volunteer who's going to give us a private green tour of New York City. So let's turn our camera over to Teresa Lee.
New York City is one of the most congested cities in the United States. There's an estimated total average daily traffic of 117.5 million vehicles across just the bridges. Air pollution and emissions from transportation, primarily cars, buses, and trucks, contribute a significant amount of pollution to our air on a daily basis. It is a significant environmental threat that contributes to an estimated 6% of annual deaths in New York City. Both carbon monoxide and sulfur dioxide levels are significantly worse in New York than the average for the entire US. New York drivers lost a staggering 380 million hours stuck in rush hour traffic in 2007, which is the second highest rate in the nation. About 75% of all households in Manhattan do not own a car. The national average is only 8%. Therefore, we must rely heavily on public transportation. The 58 million tourists and residents per year, New York City harbors one of the largest public transportation systems in the world. The Metro-North Commuter Railroad is a suburban commuter rail service that is operated and managed by the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA, an authority of New York State. It runs services between New York City to the northern suburbs in New York and Connecticut. The MTA is the busiest commuter railroad in the United States as measured in terms of overall monthly ridership. New York City subway system has 468 stations and is still increasing today. The MTA has a fleet of more than 6,300 subway cars that operates 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The average commuters per day is 5.3 million, and in 2011, the total number of commuters was 1.64 billion. How often do you take the subway?
I take it maybe 4 to 7 days a week.
The bus, it takes too long and I don't like waiting for it, so I normally just walk to the train.
Maybe every day.
If there was no subway system, what would you do?
Honestly, I don't know, because I use the train every day.
Parking fee is very expensive here, so I don't want to buy a car.
I was thinking about getting a bike though, sometime.
Oh, okay. And can I ask you why are you thinking about getting a bike?
I think it would be in the long run, it would be cheaper as opposed to paying the fare every time I ride, and it's faster sometimes.
What is a better way to commute to help save money and also healthier for you and the environment? Biking. Biking helps spare the city nearly 6,000 tons of carbon monoxide each year, plus hundreds of tons of ozone. Nationwide, cyclists can save between 120 to 680 million gallons of gasoline per year. Not only is biking good for the environment, but it's also great for the city. Biking is booming in New York City, with the number of daily cyclists rising to about an average of 236,000 people per year. New Yorkers have the longest average commute in the country, about 45 minutes. However, biking will only give you an average commute about 30 minutes. Now New York City is more bike-friendly than ever. The city has implemented more than 700 miles of on-street bike lanes and parking space for biking. In July of 2012, New York City will be unveiling the new Citibank's Bike Share program, which are one-way, short-term bike rentals around the city. Riders can rent and return bikes at any bike station without having to worry about storage or maintenance. When completed, this program will consist of 600 stations with 10,000 bikes in Manhattan and Brooklyn. It is a great mobility choice for short trips that are too far to walk but too short for a cab or subway ride. On May 6th of 2012, the annual 5-borough bike tour will be held in New York City. This is America's largest cycling event each year, currently at 32,000 riders. The 5-borough bike tour is a 40-mile trek through all of the 5 boroughs of New York City, starting in Lower Manhattan, then up to the Bronx, then to Queens, Brooklyn, Staten Island, and finally back to Manhattan. The main purpose of the event is to encourage everyone to bike instead of driving to make our Earth greener and less polluted. What are you waiting for? Come ride with us. I'll see you there.
You must be wondering how we can minimize our carbon footprint. Well, for starters, if you're a resident of New York City, instead of buying bottled water, drink tap water. According to Green NYC, New York City has some of the best water in the world, and its source is right from the reservoirs of Catskill Mountains. Brent, besides being a bike enthusiast, you are a keen environmentalist. So what are you doing in your daily lifestyle to make it greener?
Well, there's a lot of things that I learned coming from Denver and working for their sustainability initiative at the city there. One of the things that I try to do as often as possible is to shop and go to green businesses or local businesses where everything's kind of locally made, so there's not as much transportation cost for goods and services, and to really eat at restaurants that serve local or organic foods that don't have as much of a hindrance to the environment. On top of that, I try to bike or walk as often as I can. That not only saves a little bit of the environment, but also saves a little bit in my money book, in my pocket for cash. So.
Well, that's good. Let's take a short break and go see how everyone did on the day of the 40-mile race.
Today is the day of our big event. I'm super excited, yet a bit anxious. I'm heading there right now to meet with my group. Let's go check it out. New York City subway has very lenient rules for bicycles. As you can see, I am getting on there immediately with no hassle. However, there are specific times bikes are allowed on the trains. For example, bikes are not permitted during rush hour on the weekdays and are also not allowed at certain times during the weekends. We're on the R train right now on the way to our Tzu Chi office in Canal Street. We have a few stops, so I'm on the subway right now. We've arrived at our downtown Manhattan location, and behind me you can see is our Tzu Chi bike group. This is our first year participating on behalf of Tzu Chi, and we have a total of 34 riders this year. Are they ready? Let's go check it out. Are you ready?
I think we all going to do well. Everybody seems energetic and happy and all ready to go.
So I think biking is definitely a very good way to not only promote your health, but to see things around, especially in this 5-borough bike tour. This is once in a year that they close down all the highways, go through the 5 boroughs, very scenic area. And I met a lot of new friends, so it's a good way to really get around.
我一定可以完成了，前3次的练习呢是非常的好，所以这一次一早呢就起床来， 非常的兴奋。你看我背着慈济的旗子来宣扬慈济，慈济 Go！
Go 慈济 Go Go 慈济 Go Go 慈济 Go！ We'll see you at the finish line.
And this summer, we will launch a new bike share program with 10,000 bikes and 600 stations. And we need you all out there keeping this city safe and strong and sustainable. So thanks for riding. Be safe. Have a great ride. Big thanks to the New York City Department of Transportation. Bike New York!
We're all about environmental conservation, also reducing the carbon footprint. We're trying to get more people to bike and less people to ride cars. We have people from every state in the United States, 64 countries throughout the world. So it truly is a wonderful, great international event. But at Bike New York, we're trying to encourage more and more people to ride to work, ride to school. We have one planet and we have to protect it, and riding bicycles is certainly one way to do that.
More hats. Oh, very nice.
This year, because of the immense amount of participants, a total of 32,000, Bike New York has allotted staggered start times for different groups to reduce congestion and to have this event run smoothly throughout the day.
Seeing the cool rocker pulling right in through the gate. Well, a young's on stage and he grabbed that microphone.
I'm feeling great, but it's very slow because there's so many people, as you can see behind me, and there's so many traffic lights. You have to keep stopping and stopping. So it's draining a lot of energy I'm feeling, and the wrists are a little tired from always non-stop braking because so many people. I'm gonna head back into my bike. A nice break. Bye.
From Atlanta, Georgia. This is the first time we've done the PD bike tour of the 5-borough tour. It's been easy so far. I'm kind of surprised. I just started riding in March of this year, and so far it's been great. Seeing New York from a different perspective. I used to visit when I was a little kid, and I'm seeing things I never saw before.
Congratulations, all of you have made it today.
Upper West Side store.
We've arrived at our festival, which is called the Fort Wadsworth Festival in Staten Island. It's about 36 miles into the race, so we have about 3 or 4 miles left. As you can see behind me, everyone is resting over here. We just passed the Verrazano Bridge. Very tiring, but we made it. The downhill was absolutely awesome. It's very fast, very cool, but the uphill was definitely the hardest part for me today.
Hey! Awesome.
Feel great. Feel like $1 million.
Everything's wonderful. I made it. It's wonderful. It's a great experience. If you haven't tried it, you ought to do it. I had heart surgery and I ride my bike and I'm still here doing it.
Beautiful day. Good ride.
This is my 5th time I'm still alive.
6th time. About 30 times.
3rd time. Just turned 60 this year. So doing good.
Fantastic. Great day, great weather. Wonderful bunch of people. Having a lot of fun.
How often do you get to ride on the big bridges in New York and the roads?
Excellent. Awesome.
Feels good. First time. I made it.
Great ride. A little bit cramped, but made it through.
First time, it felt awesome. I can't wait to do it again next year. Team Brooklyn. All the way from Virginia. To bike.
This is
8 times.
8 times.
8 times. I started after 9/11 in 2002. I wanted to come to New York to support New York.
Because I enjoy bike riding and I love to tour New York.
Oh, it's fantastic. I do it every year. It's a blast. How many times do you get to go on the Verrazano Bridge?
And now it's only 12:30?
Only 12:30. But I think last year I was just leaving Queensboro Bridge this time. And now we're done. This is the best ever for us. And this is his first.
First ride. How do you feel? Awesome! Verrazano Bridge!
We reached the end of our 5-borough bike tour.
Yeah!
We rode a total of 40 miles today, and this is our final destination, the Staten Island Ferry. Everyone here behind me is waiting in a line to get into the ferry to head back to Manhattan, New York.
We made it!
It was a good ride. The weather was very nice, and finally make it. We got separated, because of the different, a lot of traffic on the way. But we make it, and some of the Tzu Chi members were on the ferry back to the. It was a wonderful ride, wonderful experience. Great. Next year we'll do better.
我们终于骑回来了，脚都快抽筋了。有阻力啊，拿了这个旗子骑的就比较慢，骑不快。好多人问我们啊，这个旗子是什么意思？我们都跟他宣扬慈济 ，Go Green, Save the Earth。
So that's a few members of our group. We're slowly gathering up and heading back to Manhattan. During the 5-borough bike tour not only gives us the opportunity to exercise and also experience the city in a more intimate way, it also helps us the earth become greener. So be kind to the earth and leave your air polluting car at home. I am Teresa Lee, and I'll see you next time. Start pedaling.
Thank you, Teresa, for the up-close and personal green tour of New York City from a different angle. So, Brent, how do you feel now after the event is finished?
I feel great. It went off without many complications. Thousands of people were extremely happy. A lot of hard work from our staff and our team and our thousands of volunteers. We had 2,000 volunteers the day of in various areas, and we're very grateful for their support and their help to put on an event of this scale.
Then how can bike enthusiasts use their enthusiasm to get more people involved in the bike movement?
What we recommend is to volunteer. It's a great way to give back to the community. What we look for, especially during the summer, is volunteers to help teach classes. We have lead instructors, and then we have volunteers that help teach our learn to ride classes, our street skills classes, our bike maintenance classes. To be able to volunteer your time and to share that experience is amazing.
Well, Brent, once again, thank you very much for coming on to the show, and hopefully next year we'll see you in the tour.
Yes, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you. In our next segment, Footprints, we meet Jim Tai, another individual whose green habit is making a great difference in his community and the environment.
第一次听到可能就说去捡垃圾嘛。
Speaking of recycling, if we heard it for the first time, we would say it must be picking up garbage.
再制造的利用。
So someone throws away trash. You pick it up and recycle or reuse it after reprocessing. If we see it from a different angle, actually, it is to restore our environment. So recycling is to turn the recyclables into useful resources. And we use our hands to do this, which is very meaningful.
亲自来做这些事情，我觉得非常的有意义。公司每次印刷。
My company prints a lot of paper every time and throws them out after printing. So I started to collect and save them in several big boxes for a couple of months. Then I deliver them to Sister Jingzi's home for recycling.
静之师姐家里去做环保的回收。后来我退休了以后。
After I retired, I joined Tzu Chi's recycling work in 2009. In 2010, we only had a few volunteers at the recycling station. Just recycling the paper alone, we have recycled 130,000 pounds of paper. We collected so much paper that could save thousands of people and many 25-year-old big trees. Master Zhenyan says that we should have a mind to cherish our blessings when seeing other people suffer. When we see that someone suffers and encounters many disasters, we should know we are really blessed. Why? It is because we are not suffering like these people. I could use the art of calligraphy to manifest some beautiful verses. Doing recycling makes me feel joyful. To make the environment clean is a different kind of joy.
Whether if it's biking, recycling, or simply remembering to turn off the lights when you leave a room, remember we're all interconnected through our actions and the long-term consequences it has on our beloved planet. I'm Ginger Chang. Thank you for watching.